Hello and welcome back to the Colosseum podcast. Today we're discussing War Through Time. War is the Achilles heel of humanity. Looking back through history, war is an unrelenting feature of our growth as a species. War has taken many forms, whether that would be physical or economic, and so on. But today, we're going to focus on how militaries and tactics have changed throughout time. With me to talk about War Through Time is the well-known and accredited historian, Jack.
Thanks, mate.
And my friend who's got a degree in opinions, Harry.
We're keeping it light today.
Degree in
The
opinion.
Achilles heel of humanity.
I don't know.
We thought about that.
I don't even know what half of this means.
Did you go in like Grammarly and upgrade all your words?
I went to the historian.
Oh, okay.
Well, it is
So that's
though,
why
isn't
it sounds like you're a ponce.
Was kind of.
Yeah.
See, that's a strange
I've
word.
really-
I'm joking. It was very.
I
good.
already
It was
sound
very
like one
good.
anyway.
Achilles heel of humanity. Would you think
That's
that?
a very you thing to say.
Do you think that's the
all-
case? Because I kind of regretted that after. Because you
Well,
think
no,
about it,
'cause
it's
it's
very
sort
easy
of
to
like-
say that, but then if you think about it,
It's pretty helpful. Actually.
What is it? I actually don't know.
war. You know what war is?
Oh well, yeah, I know war. Is that just Achilles heel? Is that just
Achilles heel.
yeah? Is that just
We talked about this last
Do you
week,
know what
George.
Achilles heel is?
No.
We literally talked about this last week.
So everyone has,
When
yeah.
they dipped the boy in the river.
Yes, no. So Achilles was held by his mother, I think, and he was dipped in a river. And I can't remember what the river's called. And then the river makes you invincible, but because he was held by the heel,
Oh, his. I thought
his heel
oh,
wasn't
okay.
like covered.
Ah,
So
And
that's
then
why-
some bad boy was like,
And then
bam,
Paris, that's his name was Paris of Troy, shot him in
Brah.
the
straight in the
ankle.
heel.
okay. Right. Yeah.
The Achilles heel. That's why you got an Achilles down there.
I got it. Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
We talked about this last
So
week.
I thought you knew what that term was.
We like actually. This was.
Yeah, but I just okay.
So you've just gone and introduced the whole thing, not knowing what you're saying.
That's what I did for English for half a year, man. I don't know what I was writing about. My personal statement doesn't even make sense.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
It does actually, but to be fair.
If that's true, it's
Any
too late.
unis
It is
listening,
too late.
it makes perfect sense.
It does. It does make sense.
It makes perfect
Although
sense.
apparently now I like cricket.
George, stop saying this.
Stop!
They're gonna look back
Why
at
did
this
you write
and
about
see that
cricket?
you've
I had to
lied.
cut stuff out of mine,
didn't.
and you're
Someone
writing about
else just-
cricket.
Someone else just said that I liked cricket.
We do like cricket.
Because
though.
you're English, that's a bit.
No,
Nah,
we played cricket with
Just
them. I played cricket.
I do like cricket. I just didn't think I'd put that, or
Why
didn't
is
think
that in your
someone talked.
personal state? I have a
It's
job,
not.
and I don't
it's
even
for my
write about that in my
reference.
personal.
It's for my reference.
Oh, okay.
Why do you write
Wait,
about...
who's doing your reference?
I can't say his name.
Oh,
Why don't you write
Big,
about...
Big Stu.
Why don't you write about your big job?
my big job.
I didn't mean to say that. I didn't mean to say that.
Big job.
I didn't mean to say Mick job. I
Is
meant
that
to
is?
say job.
I mean,
That's a great.
that is a
that's
great title.
I'm gonna
Yeah, what
make
about your
everything you
McJob?
do.
I'm a Mc crew member at my Mc job
Yeah.
Oh my
Why
god.
didn't you write about it?
because I didn't have room.
Well, what did you put in instead?
What else did you put in?
I had so much. I like wrote so much, and when
What?
she was like, and then I sent it to her, and she was like, "Oh,
Soon
this
as
is like way too
yeah,
long, but I
soon
don't
as-
want to cut
As
any
soon
of
as
it."
it's about him, he writes a bloody book.
That's because I'm amazing at everything. I'm very interesting, and I have lots of achievements.
I mean, I
I'm
can
a
read the
very
messages that you
respectable
sent me
per-
before the
no.
podcast
No, you don't need to do that.
about combining activities. Anyway, yeah, let's go back
I'm
to
just
the
saying
war.
it would be highly
yeah.
efficient if you could shit and shower at the
Right.
same time,
Well,
and then you wouldn't have to wipe either, would you?
well, the thing is,
Would
though,
there be like
could
a
just-
hole
you could just
in the
scoop.
shower.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the drain would just be bigger.
Well,
That's so-
The drain would
so
just be
gross.
bigger.
Harry, this is
And you wouldn't have to wipe, would you? You'd save money on toilet paper, and you'd save the trees.
Yes, but you
You'd
would
just
also...
scoop and then just.
normally I
Wash
make
it.
a joke. Normally I make a
Like a
joke
little
about your
scoop.
high level
Oh.
thinking, but I don't think I can even joke about that. How terrible that was.
Right, okay.
What?
Your idea of that, the whole premise of being more efficient.
It would be more efficient though.
It would be if showers were made for that, but they're not.
But
so.
if you made showers like that, that would be way more
But
efficient.
no one's going to make
Business
showers
idea.
for that because no one's discussing
Mike,
it.
write
The
that
army
down.
might. They're all about efficiency.
The armies even make showers, portable showers. Do you think they do?
Well, because they have them on submarines and stuff, don't
That's
they?
true.
And then like on army bases. So I'm assuming.
Do you think for showers and submarines they just poke a hole in the side and hope for the best?
I don't think that's
And then they just patch it over with duct
do you
tape.
think that's how
And then just
planes
get
work as
buckets.
well? Do you think that's the Apollo missions work?
Yeah,
You just got like
that-
holes in the side.
That's why most of them go wrong.
That's why, yeah. Anyway, so we should probably start.
Yeah, let's talk about ancient war.
So I think we'll start off with the old timey stuff, and then we'll go to the new stuff.
Old timey stuff.
Well, as our accredited great historian, you know,
Yeah,
Jack,
but free PhDs.
PhDs, okay.
Yes.
Just in history.
No. in research.
Research.
Like my
Research.
fellow Sam. Yeah.
With
Anyway.
your fellow Sam, that implies that you're a Sam, but you're not a Sam.
Oh, maybe Sam.
Because we don't like Sam.
Maybe Jack is the
Do we
pseudonym.
not?
Jacks we tolerate. Sam's, no.
Anyway, let's start. This is reminding
sorry,
me of the
yeah.
first episode.
It's much of every
It
episode.
wasn't just the first one,
The
dude.
second one was good.
What about the third?
The first one was just all over. But we can't do it kind of. Anyway, so war is strange. I look at what do you think of war? When the word war,
I think
people
it's
instantly think
stupid.
stab, kill. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Shoot, kill.
When I think of like Afghanistan, I'm like,
You've
yeah,
you've
that's
taken
what
the
they're doing
words-
over there. Stab,
You've taken
kill,
the words
kill.
on my mouth.
and occasional
otherwise.
drone strikes and children.
And there's a lot of drone
Right,
strikes.
well, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get
But
to. We'll get to.
when I say war, though,
When I think of war, I think of modern war.
Yeah.
I think of
Yeah.
global superpowers using their influence to...
Oh,
that's,
war.
that's all COD though.
War now.
Call of
War
Duty.
now. I mean,
I don't play COD.
if there was a war now,
I played Warzone with you lot for
That's
like
true.
6 months.
We were rubbish.
I was rubbish. Yous were good.
We were
No,
rubbish.
you just
I'm really
you
bad
just put us in
at
bad
shooting
lobbies.
games.
You just put us in bad lobbies.
Remember the
That's why
game?
we're good.
Remember that game? I absolutely took all of your kills.
I don't. Yeah, that was awful.
I got 15. He got 2. Very sad boy.
I think 2 might have been my highest.
Anyway.
2 kill streak.
Yeah.
So war though, like, what do you think war is? Why do you think humans have a
It's
tendency
folk
to
fighting
fight?
each other
Yeah, but why do
because
you
they
think-
want shit.
Why do you think we have a tendency?
Because we want shit.
Is
And
that
we
it,
feel
though? Is
threatened
that
and we
it?
want their shit.
Just want more.
Yes.
We always want more.
That-
You
And
want
if someone else
more?
doesn't give us it, then we fight and fight and fight until we just kind of go,
Wait, so
half of our
so do
country
you
is
think,
gone.
Do you think war could be
Stupid.
put down to just human nature?
Yes.
Deep
Yeah,
down, deep
why
down.
not?
If you
Deep
break
down.
past all the politics and the economics and all that, do you think it's
The
just
core, the substance that's...
But I think politics is sort of also human nature, so it's sort of the same thing, isn't it?
well, kind of, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
because it's
Well,
just
no, I think I look at
because
politics
it's just
as a way
like
to
arguing, isn't
I
it?
think
But war
politics
is
is
the
kind of a way to-
physical manifestation
politics
of that.
is like
so-
a way to curb human nature to keep it in line. That's what I kind of get.
Well, no, because discussion and like
Yeah.
all
That's
of
what it
that
is,
is
though.
also human nature.
Anyway, so war. You're like, okay, so it is. I think we shouldn't just say it's human nature because that's
No,
quite
I don't
pessimistic.
think
And
it
then it
is.
kind of makes all
Yeah,
the
but it's like right.
well,
One thing that like every civilization has in common
this war.
Yeah,
is we
that's
like
very
fighting
true.
each other.
Especially the English.
Mm.
Right, my
Yeah.
nation is
No,
something
no,
else.
because you were just trying to copy the people before you. So
Come
well,
on.
Yes.
I like how you're saying you.
The
We're-
Mongols.
We're all British.
They weren't great. They
You
were
were-
pretty
you-
mean
yeah.
before us.
They were
I think
pretty.
they were before
they
us,
were
right?
pretty
Yeah,
mean.
yeah. They hurt.
But I
your
mean,
feelings,
if there was a
George.
war now, there wouldn't be much. Do you think there would actually be full on like battlefield
There's still
fighting?
wars now.
I know, but like,
If
you know
there
what I mean?
were wars
if
now-
there was a massive war,
No,
they would just be more like.
Well, first of all, that
Well, I don't
doesn't
think we'd
happen.
get a
Specify.
massive war because everyone's like, "Oh, don't want to get involved with that one."
You want to get
Well,
nukes.
if there was like a
And then the whole of Europe would be like, "Yeah, I think we've had enough of that for now. Thank you. We'll give it another like few hundred
Yeah,
years.
Europe's still rebuilding after that.
We'll just sit this one out, boys."
So, so what are we saying? We're saying it's human nature. We're going down.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would
Okay,
say.
so we'll
it's
say that.
probably,
Okay, that's
yeah.
quite pessimistic. We'll just go with it.
Mhm, yeah.
We're right. Though.
So we'll say that it's kind of unavoidable.
So soft.
Unavoidable.
Yes.
So that does kind of make sense. So if you go all the way back to not even humans, animals as well. There's lots of tribalistic behaviour in animals and chimps.
Well, I mean, it's essentially
Yeah,
the same
that's
thing, though. Because with
Yeah.
chimps and stuff, they're like, it's over land resources.
Women.
Yeah. It was
And
gonna-
female chimps.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And
Well,
with
there-
us, it's about
You'd be surprised.
land
And-
resources,
and
female
f- fem-
chimps.
Female, not female chimps.
Female chimps.
Well, I think less so females, but you would be surprised how many
Female
times.
chimps.
You'd be surprised how
Female
many
chimps up there, yeah.
times
Female chimps.
there've been like wars and things about taking females. Anyway, we'll get on
Yeah,
to
what was that one where they stole
Yeah,
the woman?
we'll go on to that one. So
Okay, so
we'll start off. I think we should skip all the Neolithic stuff about like people hitting each other with sticks. We're not going. We're going to
Oh.
go past that.
But-
you took
Yeah,
my dear
because I-
Hyde.
We're going to drop right
You
into. I think we should drop into the Persian, Greco-Persian wars.
The Greco-Persian. Oh boy,
No, you'll actually like this. This is what 300's based off.
I've never seen 300.
Neither have I.
We have watched the bad one. We watched the bad one. We didn't watch the
Bad
one
one?
with the one directed by, you know, the one with the Eva Green in it. You don't know that one?
I'm googling it.
We've definitely seen it because we watched it at your house. We haven't seen the good one though, or the better one. I know it's very good.
Okay.
And why does that name ring a bell?
She's quite famous. She's in Casino Royale. She's the
Why?
woman in Casino Royale.
The woman.
The blonde girl.
The
Okay.
woman herself.
What was her
The
name?
one and only.
Eva Green.
Eva Green. You'll definitely know who she is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember us talking about whether she was like French or something.
I don't know.
That one.
Yeah, her. She's in. The film wasn't very good, but we've seen that one. But yeah,
What
so
was 300?
we'll jump into that
Okay.
because that's around. Oh god, I'm making my dates completely wrong here.
Aren't you a historian?
I was going to say 500 BC.
Jack,
before
that's
the
not true.
Bro.
Good.
I
Talk
can't
about-
really
talk
remember
about
the
it,
exact
talk
dates for
about
that. That's kind of embarrassing.
Because I don't know anything about it because obviously I'm not. Got
So there was
PhD.
there was two kind of big conflicts, and then and this is like the first time we see Western and Eastern cultures clash. Really, big scale. Like was not as well more like Hellenistic's basically Greek, and that later
Okay.
became Roman and Greek and
Yeah.
stuff,
Okay.
and then went to Egypt, the spread of all of them.
Woo, Rome.
Anyway,
Yeah.
but so the Greeks were fighting against these Persians, and the Persians. I'm going to talk about the I believe it's the second war because there was two wars. One with Darius, the king of Persia, and he led this big force, and they fought a marathon. You heard of marathon before?
Have I heard of a marathon?
Oh, yeah,
I like
Yes.
marathons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
26 odd
the
miles.
story is that the guy ran 26 miles to tell the Greeks the Persians,
That's mad. That's a
and he
madness.
dies when he gets there.
I'm not surprised.
And
if
that's
I ran a
why
marathon, I think
and
I'd
the
probably
Battle
die.
Marathon.
If I ran,
Yeah.
I'd die.
If I ran like
I have no
12k,
legs.
I think that would be me.
And
If I ran,
Well, I might not
Okay.
die. I'd definitely go unconscious, probably.
yeah,
then
yeah.
the so that was the first Persian war with Darius. They defeated him at the Battle of Marathon. I'm hoping I'm getting this right. The second war,
Nobody's gonna fact check you.
okay, that's true.
I will.
The Persians came under the king called Xerxes, which was like the coolest name. It's spelled with an X. It's spelled with an X. X-E-S-X-E-S,
Ooh.
I think.
Ooh,
Xerx.
okay.
No, X-E-R-X-E. I can't remember.
What's the
It's a
dude
really-
in Toy Story?
Buzz.
No, you mug.
You're a toy!
The bad guy in the first one.
They're just making my
It's
boot.
like-
Sid.
Sid.
That's
No,
the second
no,
one.
the
isn't it?
toy.
No, Sid's the first one.
The toy.
Sid's the first one.
Like, you know how Buzz is from, like...
Oh,
It's
Zerg!
Zerg.
That's the
it.
one.
Anyway, so Xerxes leads this big army. And it's like...
Didn't Zerg end up being his dad or something?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
pretty
I
sure-
swear
I
that...
think
was
about
that
that.
was a
Zerg
Star
was a
Wars
dad.
spoof.
It-
That
yeah,
was a
but,
Star
like,
Wars spoof.
Is that Toy Story canon?
And then they played catch
I
at
think-
the end of the
Yes,
film.
they do.
Oh my god.
You're right.
Why don't we
With
do
that yellow ball.
Oh, that's three.
It
That's
was
number
yellow.
Three. That's number 3.
Yeah, I remember the scene.
No,
No, two. Sorry,
It was
two.
two.
Al's Toy Barn.
Al's
Toy
Toy
Barn.
Barn. That guy
Yeah.
was weird.
He was a creep.
There's a guy who goes to the football team I support, and he looks like him completely. And it's really weird. He sits beside me and my brother, and he talks to us. And we don't know the guy. And every time he doesn't even watch the bloody game. He just sits there and talks to us. We call him Big
What's
Al.
the point in that?
I don't know.
What's the point in going
He
to?
spends money to
Unless
watch.
he's like by himself a lot, then just no.
I think he is. He doesn't show up with anyone. Anyway,
Oh,
so
Sorry, I was
Xer-
googling Zerg. I did not get any
so
of that.
Xerxes
I
walks.
have to get.
No, this was Jack's. This is Jack.
I have to get rid of a red bar in Word.
Yeah, how do you get rid of it?
I don't know actually.
Jesus.
You, don't,
I don't
you
know.
googled it. You still
Because
don't
I was
know.
trying to put Emily Bronte, and I'm trying to put the special E with the 2 dots on top of it. And there's like a special command for that. Anyway,
Oh,
this
okay.
Xerxes comes with
Oh,
this-
it's like a thing.
Mate, I'm-
you do. You sorry.
Go on.
exactly what. Anyway, Xerxes marched this like ridiculously big Persian army in, and the difference between like the Eastern and like more Western military philosophies is that the Westerns ones are more heavily armored but less people, so more disciplined.
How big?
So like knights,
Roughly.
essentially.
I'm not gonna get. How big was the army?
The Persian army,
Yeah.
God, well the sources for them are dreadful, but people like to say.
Like just a rough number.
Well,
Baker's dozen.
the one up
Baker's dozen.
there's the Battle of Gargamon, I think is how it's pronounced.
They have funky
That was
names.
Alexander the Great versus the Persian king at that point. I can't remember his name, and that was like 40,000 Greeks versus about 400,000.
Jesus Christ.
So it's like a considerable
Bit
amount.
rude.
It's an amount. So that gives you kind of respect. I don't know. It's a big amount.
Nice.
A lot of them, but they're not very well armored. They're not very healthy. There's lots of them. That's the whole point.
So it's like
peasants with
knights versus
pitchforks.
like barbarians. That's sort of
Kinda.
the general gist.
Kinda.
Okay.
But then you have like the special unit called the Immortals.
Ooh.
For the Persians, really cool. Look at these cool
Are you
maps.
sure this isn't some like sort of video game you're talking
No,
about?
they're called the Immortals
Sick.
because as one died, one would replace them instantly. Because there's like an infinite amount of them. There's not infinite, obviously, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
That's like the perception they give you. So the Persians came
That's
with this
pretty mad.
big
That's
army,
quite cool.
not organised, just sprawls of people.
Right, boys.
Their main
Run at
weapon,
them.
the main weapons, so they had like thousands of archers, and like
Archers are pretty.
some of the
dope,
sources
though.
wrote that they would block out the sun with the amount of arrows
That's
they shot.
cool.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
cool.
Obviously, it didn't happen, but
Oh,
well, no, obviously you can't block the sun out with all the
No,
arrows.
you
But there's a lot of arrows. Put it that
Can
way.
you imagine like an
solar
absolute
eclipse.
shitload of arrows and
Oh
just
my
like
God.
beams
So the
of
Greek-
sun
so the
just,
Greeks,
like going through them?
I
That'd be
joined
so
them.
dope.
I just joined the army.
I'd be like, yeah,
Yeah, frick the Greeks.
that's so majestic. I'm
so
joining
maje-
you.
Yeah, all the arrows coming towards my
inspired me.
face. It's so majestic.
I believe in your cause, but then obviously you get impaled by the arrows, and you're like, well,
Well.
Peaceful way.
Well, so the Greeks were like,
what do you mean? Ah, well,
the Greeks don't really work together. That's their biggest
Fault.
fault.
I've always
basically.
said it. The Greeks, they're
And that's
so
why-
selfish. The Greeks.
Well, they kind of were. That's the problem. Because like the Athenians thought they were better than everyone else because they're democratic, and the Spartans thought they were better than everyone else because they were all militaristic.
Yeah,
It's
what
like-
kind of
you got-
society would think they're better than everyone else for having democracy?
Yeah, well, basically.
Oh no.
So they were like, okay, this Persian thing's going to kill us if we don't do what we did the first time and unite. So they united, but it would take a while to do this. And they were trying to build a navy to counter the Xerxes navy, which is also very big. So they're like, okay, we need to stop them, we need to hold them up. And there's this place in Greece called Thermopylae. I don't know if you heard of that.
No.
Thermopylae. It's this natural pass in the mountains. It's
Oh, is that
only-
the bit in the film
that you haven't seen?
that I haven't seen, but I've heard about it?
Yeah, it's Thermopylae. So it's like it's a real place. It's like basically only one way in.
Mhm.
Well, they thought that only one way in. So the Persians, this is where the two cultures, like militaristic cultures, clashed. There was 300 Spartans. The Spartans were probably the most well-trained soldiers of an ancient era.
Yeah, but they're really mean.
Probably the reason it's only 300 of them is because they had a very rigorous selection process, and if like they
It's
were also,
like I saw a TikTok on it. Like they proper mad.
yeah,
What
they
was
hated
the-
foreigners. If your kid was disabled, they got killed instantly.
Jeez.
But like that's not even that's like pretty standard
Yeah,
for back then.
No,
Like,
no.
Well, no.
No, they wouldn't kill the kid instantly, and also they
I
wouldn't
would.
like just kick all the foreigners out. That's not normally what happened. They're not like Sparta was like the UKIP of the ancient world. Think of it that. No, genuinely, that's what it is. Think of it that way.
Are you saying that UKIP would kill
What's
a
wrong with
disabled
you?
child?
No, they would kick all the foreigners out. That's what the
What about the
Spartans did.
disabled children?
No,
They give it to
UKIP
them as
one-
well.
You never know. That guy's pretty sadistic. Nigel Farage.
No,
I
John.
don't
I'm
like
pretty sure UKIP don't just want to kick out all foreigners.
That's basically their
That's
policy.
I mean,
basically what they want.
That's what they think, but I don't think that's their policy because then they would definitely
No,
get
on their
shouted at more.
website, that's the first policy and only policy.
Mate, that's the reason
If
they
in
get.
doubt, keep them out.
That's the whole EDL thing. That's the whole EDL.
That, yeah, no, you're right. I'm
It's
gonna
like-
Google UKIP website.
Don't you could. Okay, anyway, you know what? So so they were like.
Jack, this is not gonna be the worst thing on your search history.
It definitely will be. I'm pretty clean.
Let's not get into that.
Yeah, okay, fine. So war. So the Persians came with this. Their tactic was more the merrier. If you have quantity over quality,
Yeah.
and it's complete opposite of the Western idea. They had 300 Spartans. People think it was just 300 Spartans. It wasn't. It was like 300 Spartans, about 4,000 Greek hoplites, which were like or hoplites, and
How good were they?
they weren't as good as Spartans because they weren't kicked
Yeah.
out when they were just like 8-year-olds. They weren't good enough. So they were like normal soldiers, but well equipped. Chest plates, bronze chest plates,
Quite well trained.
big shields. Probably the shields were half the side, like covered half of their front.
Yeah.
You know the big round shields.
Yeah, I know.
So
what you mean.
they're basically big discs, like Captain America,
Okay,
but bigger.
but bigger.
And
Actually,
cool.
So actually useful.
Also
Well, it wasn't made
Also
of.
real.
It wasn't made out of whatever the hell that's called.
Vibranium.
Yeah, vibranium. Yeah.
God, do you know how stupid you sound, Jack, not knowing what vibranium is?
Sorry. Anyway, yeah. So these big. So they were like, okay, if we can just form up this big shield wall along this Thermopylae Pass and keep the Persians out, and you'd be surprised how well it worked. Because
I think it'd be pretty good.
back then,
did they keep them out?
yeah, they did for a
Well,
lot.
then, I'm surprised.
They kept them out for like several days until one of their own ratted them out basically, and said to the Persians, "There's a path that like through the mountains." That
How
led
do
them
they
around
do that?
back."
So they're all like up against. They've like made a wall.
Yeah.
They're all hiding behind the shields, and one of them's like, Psst, if you go around and then take a left
No,
at that tree."
It's not how it works. There's like an emissary or something that like
Right.
fled or something. In the film, it's fictional completely, but yeah. So they've actually got ratted out eventually and swarmed from all sides. But
Okay, the only ones that like, so they've got these things on the UKIP website. The only ones that I'd like, the only ones I'm a bit suspect about are the en masse migration.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which I guess
What's HS2?
that's the
That's
big
the
train
railway.
thing for like the north.
connecting
of
the
England.
north and south.
So scrap that, apparently.
Yeah, because basically it's
Scrap
taken a lot
most
of money.
foreign aid.
Yeah, that I'm also very suspicious about that one. That one doesn't seem
Abolish the BBC license fee.
That's
Okay.
quite good.
Very... Yeah, but then like, how do we get the BBC then?
Just don't want
No
to.
one watches
No
that
one
anymore,
watches
do
it.
they?
Well, old people do.
Old people do. That's true.
I watch
Just
the BBC.
scroll through your.
Bit rude.
Anyway, let's stop talking about UK
Yeah, but like, I
policies.
tried to watch like ITV or something the other day, and I was like,
Take
no,
our
thank you.
waters
And then I
back.
went back to the BBC.
Let's stop talking about UK policies.
Take what
Sorry.
waters are we going to
Anyway,
get
so-
back?
Yeah, it says take our waters back. Where did they go?
Where did the water go?
They're talking about fishing rights.
Oh,
Which is
He's
like
right,
a thing
that was on the radio the other
the
day.
EUs don't like.
So you weren't
the
watching
things,
BBC? You were listening to the radio.
yeah, BBC Radio,
Damn
you
it.
mug.
God damn it.
but
Oh yeah, Persians.
so Persian.
Yeah.
So this is the first time. So the Greeks like slaughtered like I'd like to say like thousands of there were thousands of these Persians.
But-
Very little casualties because they were just vastly superior soldiers. It was like
But sure, that's quite a minor thing.
it's like Anthony Joshua fighting
Yeah.
toddlers. That's the kind of fight it is. So think about it. He could get covered in toddlers, he'd still be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, the kind of, that's what it's like. So, it was the first. It's
I
like,
really like that image.
yeah,
I want to see that.
so that's a perfect example of like this discipline
Yeah.
against
We-
the mass. But it was also around that time the Greeks used this. Their way of fighting was kind of suited for this kind of warfare. It's called. I think I don't know if it's kind of like I don't know if the Spartans used it, but it's like phalanx formations. It's like basically very tightly packed shield walls with really long spears.
Oh
called
yeah,
pikes.
that's like the
Hedgehog.
turtle thing, isn't it?
18 no,
A
no
hedgehog thing. Well, yeah.
phalanx. It's
Yeah, okay.
PH, and it's 18-foot long pikes, and they would just be big blocks, 200 deep, 200 wide kind of thing.
18-foot long pikes. You sure it's not like
Yeah, 18-foot long.
phallus?
They're very long pike.
Okay.
Yeah.
That did not land at all.
I just
Okay,
glossed over
you
it.
just okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
okay.
so the Greeks were well suited for that kind of combat. They did lose that battle eventually because they got ratted out.
Yeah. So.
And then they
eventually-
won the subsequent naval battle called Salamis,
Ooh.
but that was a naval battle. We're not talking about that rubbish.
naval battles, we can ignore.
But no, well, we can actually.
I
We'll,
don't
we'll
want
talk
to
about it
talk
quick.
about
So, naval battles back then, there weren't big cannons on boats.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly, they were just ramming, boarding,
That's pretty sick.
archers.
So it's a bit like
The Romans kind of perfected boarding. That's why they beat the Carthaginians. We'll talk about that after. But the boarding and archers, basically, and ramming. So they had these big
That's sick.
metal, like...
Yeah, like kind of the basic ram of the front,
yeah,
right?
the boats were really cool looking. Because they had, like, you had the stereotypical plank off the front.
Yeah.
But underneath you had this big metal, like, mace, basically, that would be on the bottom of the boat. But that
Did they
was...
have one on the other side too then?
No, because you're not going to.
I don't know, but this was... I don't know if the...
Yeah, but then like
I'm not
how
s-
did it
You
not
can't
just like fall?
You can't shift it into reverse a ship, can you?
Yeah, no, but you got to have one on each side because otherwise it's just gonna be.
Well, that just looks weird.
Yeah, but then you're gonna tip over, George.
No, just stand at the back.
Anyway, the Persian boats weren't as good as the Greeks, just like the soldiers weren't as good as the Greeks, and they got beat and they retreated. So the Greek way of fighting was probably the most effective at the time in like the European bit. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to about 100 BC, 200 BC, but the first and second century BC, the Greeks start to have to fight different wars. In the aftermath of, you know who Alexander the Great is?
I've heard of him.
I talked about it earlier. So he conquered this big empire. Basically,
Great Empire.
He started in Greece, in this place called Macedon. This is like Greek.
Heard of that one too.
Civilization, and they went and took all of Persia.
They went what?
And they went all the way to India.
They went to India.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a long.
It is from Greece to India. It's a trek.
Nah, those are like literally.
So he used the phalanxes. Mm-hmm. The Macedonians were like the best of them.
Okay.
The phalanxes. He defeated the Persians, took the whole empire. The phalanxes were still like good at that time. And then and he took this big empire. He died, split into like 7, including Egypt, Turkey. They weren't called Turkey. It was called Seleucid Empire.
I've played old games.
And then you had the Macedonians, and you had the Greeks, and the Greece was part of Macedonia at that time, and it started to split up again. And then, but the phalanx was still like the primary way of fighting.
Okay.
The Egypt had more down south you went and towards like India you had more like horse chariots and stuff, chariots and like horse archers.
Yeah. Okay.
But
that wouldn't work. That probably wouldn't work against.
No, they weren't too good. Well, they were quite good because they could maneuver around them, but they weren't.
Like, because of the spears.
But they didn't.
Horses don't like spears. I learned that from Game of Thrones.
Well, anyone does not like spears.
Yeah, but horses especially, because they sort of get up to them and they're like, "Well, shit."
Well, probably because they're dying.
Well, yeah.
They run into them. Yeah.
You know all about horses, George. I forgot this.
So the Greeks. So the Greeks had the basic. Up to that point, they were only really concerned about east way.
Okay.
They had colonies like. Have you heard of Carthage?
No.
It's where Hannibal comes. You ever heard of Hannibal?
I've heard.
Hannibal. You're saying a lot of names here, like just.
It's Hannibal's basically the elephants over the mountains, that stuff.
Oh, that dude.
Yeah, that dude. Yeah.
Cool.
So that was actually a Greek colony. So like there were Greek things like on Sicily, so like Greek colonies, but the main thing they were fighting to the east, and then along came the Romans, and they started to take over the Italian peninsula, and they had a completely different way of fighting. They had basically this thing called like maniple system, where they'd have like different types of troops. They would have skirmishers.
Like you'd have like archers,
the Greeks
spearmen.
The Greeks had like archers and stuff like that, but Harry's playing a bloody game.
Bloody hell!
Just turn the
where is that?
Oh my god!
But they had so the Greeks did have archers and skirmishers and stuff like that, and cavalry.
Yeah.
But the Romans were like, okay, we're gonna divide it up even more so we can be more effective fighting these Greeks. So
a bit more strategy, I guess. I was going to say. Well, what kind of troops would they have then? If they've already got archers, spearmen, and I guess like close combat.
Yeah, so they had. So the Romans were okay. So they had defeated all the local Italian people. They actually were using like phalanxes and stuff before, and they were fighting against like these places called the Etruscans.
I've heard of them.
And the Samnites.
I think I've heard of
them. We don't like Sam's here.
Samnite's a really cool name in my opinion. But they fought against them using the phalanxes. That worked quite well. And then they started to fight against like more like places like Carthage and the French, the Gauls.
Yes.
And the phalanxes just didn't work because the terrain was too bumpy, like the Alps and stuff. The terrain was too bumpy, and the units they were facing like faster horses and elephants and stuff like that. The phalanxes didn't work against them.
Yeah, I can see what that would do.
Yeah. So they were like, okay, so we need to change up a bit. So they were like, okay, so we're gonna divide our army up to like separate sections. So they have the front. They have archers. They would have like light infantry, heavy infantry, and then the elite infantry, and then they have horsemen. So they would have like the skirmishers would be called velites, and they were like it's kind of weird. Each bit was like segregated into class.
Okay.
As well, so like
all things should be.
The lower
no. So play your game.
The lower the lower classes would be the skirmishers, and then when you like grew richer, you would become different parts of the army. So you start like. So the army was divided into like velites, were the skirmishers, and you had the histati, who were like light infantry.
What
they were
did
young
they have?
soldiers. They had javelins and short swords and shields.
Oh,
basically.
so they're just like rubbish spearmen, basically.
Well, they're infantry, but they're kind of like they're the biggest part of the army. There's the most of them. They're quite young. They didn't have much money, so they couldn't buy it. Like they bought their armor back then, and at that point. And they couldn't really afford good armor, so they were like the bulk of the army. And then you had the principes, or you can pronounce it differently. And they were kind of older veterans, had more money, more skilled. And they had the triarii.
So what was the one before? What was it called again?
Histati, so velites, histati, principe, triarii.
And what did most of those, like, what are the weapons that they use?
Short swords.
So the rich people, what would they have?
The rich people, well, they kind of vary. So they would have like things. They had like these short kind of spears that were good for fighting cavalry. The richest people.
Yeah.
And then they would have gladius,
Are they on
basically, which was like
horses?
no. So there's another section called the equites, where the richest people, and they would ride around on the horses. But Italian horses are dreadful. That's like the whole thing. The Italian horses.
I didn't realise
So-
they built different kind of horses.
So like, okay,
Mate,
so
horses are all built different. Right?
Well, yeah, but I just thought they were all built different.
Nah, because you get like how they're like trained and stuff. So like different countries train them differently. That's my guess.
Right,
Anyway.
okay.
Anyway, so the Romans came to the Greeks with this new kind of fighting, and they managed to like they had 4 wars with the Macedonians and won every one of them, and they just they kind of wiped the floor with them because the Greek armies weren't maneuverable. And although they were well equipped, they just couldn't deal with the tactics, like the
variations
agility and like the
yeah.
of the Romans. So like
Yeah.
the Romans beat the Greeks and the Macedonians. Eventually, just assimilated the whole of Greece into their empire because
Huge, right?
because
Well,
they're
they
military,
just got
because they
pushed
kind of
over,
adapted
basically.
military tactics to beat them, basically.
So they got mucked.
Yeah.
They got like just
Yeah, so before we move, so like that's
They
just an
got
example of how
violated.
like how tactics. If you change quick enough, you're able to overcome your enemies. If you adapted your army,
yeah. So it essentially went from one standard way of what like basically most of the army were either 1 or 2 troops. Then we had archers, and you had
like the hoplites,
yeah.
hoplites,
The Greeks mainly used the what's it
Phalanx.
called? The phalanx, which is basically just like a
big block of spears.
big block of shields and spears.
Yeah.
Hedgehog.
But then the Romans were like, not really working against what was it, the French and the Gauls, was it?
The Gauls were the French,
Okay, yeah.
and the Carthaginians.
So they
North
decided,
Africans.
okay, you know what? We're gonna mix it up, and they made a bunch of other troops, and they
Yeah.
decided they essentially just made
Flexibility.
different classes of just mainly through money,
Yeah,
and then they kind of used
because
that
by
to
then
their
the army wasn't
advantage.
professional in Rome. The army wasn't a professional thing.
Yeah,
You-
it was
you
kind of
just go-
down to if you had money and experience,
Yeah,
go ahead.
go.
If you don't, go up front.
Yeah, so
Um,
we'll do one more example of the Romans, and then we'll go to like more
yeah, we'll change
modern examples.
change, yeah.
So the Romans, once they beat the Macedonians, they're like, okay, this is pretty good. We've taken over Greece. We've taken over.
Macedon, they're in Eurovision, aren't they?
Probably there's still a thing. Yeah, North Macedonia is still a country. Yeah, the flag's quite cool. It's red and yellow. It's like
Yeah.
it's like the old Japanese flag, but it's red and yellow instead of white and red. But so after they took Carthage, they looked towards Spain and France, and then they started to realize that these systems weren't really working against these more
Structured armies. Were
not
they
structured, but they were kind of less structured. They were way less.
Diverse.
They're more barbarians. These are the barbarians.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
north of like Italy and Greece were what they considered barbarians,
What did they?
Well, that's
like,
a
what
different-
and
were
they were like
We're north of Italy and Greece.
they got for instance the Spanish and the Gauls, they were like not as well equipped as the Romans, but they were able to move quicker. They were more flexible, even more flexible
Did
than
they have the numbers?
and they had probably equal numbers, but they were
So
because
just
they're
more agile.
more agile basically, and they were also more suited to the terrain because they were also
Oh, well,
they were
yeah,
used
'cause
to
they
the
lived there,
so they were used to
yeah.
it and fighting and like
Home advantage.
so once again that the maniple system became like obsolete and they're like this isn't working. So this guy called Marius came along and he was like, okay, we need to make a new thing. So he started a professional army where you'd hire troops because they were facing like troop deficits at that point. They didn't have enough men, so we can hire this average citizen to join. They started making it like professional, a job basically to be in the military instead of just signing up.
They get paid.
Yeah. They do 25 years of service.
Why were folk doing it if they weren't getting paid?
Well, it's just for the glory of the. And also, you got like war bounty as well.
Yeah.
From the places you conquered.
You get stuff once you win.
But
if you win.
This is like.
Yeah, but if you don't win, you
This
die.
is like the first professional.
lose.
This was like the first professional army though. Like you serve 25 years, and you get given like a farm bit of land basically at the end.
Yeah.
And they were like,
Oh
okay,
yeah, no, that was it. So the thing about the Spartans, like, if you came back after like losing a battle, don't you get like your balls chopped off or something?
I don't know. But the whole like the man troubles of the Spartans like they wanted to see you carrying your shield or like your head on the shield. I think that's the kind of thing.
It's fight or die.
It's that kind of idea. So but back to the Romans. This was the introduction of the legion system, where it went back to so it was less like it wasn't divided into 5 sections. It was like more you have one kind of troop called the legionary who was very versatile, and you'd have like in each legion you'd have several groups of them.
Yeah.
No, not tiers. Like you had groups of them.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they're all the same troop, all identical, but because of that you could maneuver them easily, and you can like.
So did they move away from just the idea of having a bunch of mobs kind of just come together and fight?
Now it's
No,
organised.
they moved
mobs.
away. They moved away from different sections. They have like instead of saying okay, skirmishers go and then the light infantry go. They just say okay, legions move. I just made it quicker.
How
Because,
big
That's
were
more
the,
like what we had in like World War One.
yeah,
Yes.
and the French with Napoleon had like the line infantry and stuff like that. Yeah, so yeah,
Did they go for quality more than quantity? And then how
No,
big
it's
were
just
the?
sort
How
of
big?
like the ease of it.
yeah, they made it easier to maneuver. So
Okay.
so if you think about this, right? So you have 5 different types of units.
Yeah.
And you try to maneuver them against this barbarian horde.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, so you guys move there, and you guys move there, and you guys move there. That's 5 different orders you have to give.
Or you can just say, right, you lot.
You're all the
fight.
same now. You're all legionaries, and you're all equipped exactly the same. Now you can just tell them to do exact.
It's
You
sort
don't
of
have to
like
give different orders, basically.
jack of all trades. Sort of.
Yeah, so they're,
So
like,
they're not
like the
specialists.
they're like the
they just
Mario. They're like the Mario games. How he's like this all round good guy.
Yeah.
He's like
What?
You know, in like the
Yeah, I know Mario's a
the
good
Olympic
guy.
the Olympic games.
Oh, right, yeah.
I have
And the
never
stats.
played the one.
And
Yeah,
Mario's
I know
like
what you mean. So
all
Mario's
round.
like the basic character you get, and then you got like specialised.
Yeah, so
Yes.
legionaries were basically Marios. And they were like, and they had and then the Romans were like, okay, and we have them. We'll start bringing foreign people to do all the archer stuff. So they start bringing
The Syrians.
Yeah, Syrians,
Nice.
and they were put in Scotland eventually. So
Poor Syrians.
for the
Shit weather.
so they were able
Shit
to
people.
because they had no.
No, it's alright, I can say that. I'm one of them.
Yeah. Anyway, so what they changed again to this legion system, which allowed them to fight the barbarians in like quickly. You could change how you fought the battles easily, and that's how they managed to take over all of France and all the Mediterranean, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So for the adaptation, they conquered Europe, and that's like you can see that's like in the space of
That must have changed. Like, well, obviously they
in about
conquered a lot.
it was about like 200-year period where it changed about 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah, so so for France mostly they just got a massive mob.
Yeah,
Of just angry people.
The barbarians weren't really well organised.
There's still a bunch of angry people.
Okay.
Don't we camps?
I'm starting beef with the French again.
Again?
Yeah.
When was the first time? What have you done?
Like 1800 something?
It's 1800.
So it was a wild time,
How
which I
old?
don't really remember.
Okay.
So like that was quite. So the reason why the Romans were so successful,
It's because they could adapt
'cause they
their
adapted
army
to
to
warfare.
certain situation.
they could fight anyone in Europe because they could adapt.
So do you think they could use?
And that's why they eventually failed because they didn't. Well, it's not actually. There's lots of reasons why they eventually
Yeah.
failed, but yeah.
So the army that they had eventually after fighting the French, do you think they could apply that into every single different country and it would work?
Well, no, because they struggled a lot in like modern day Syria and stuff like that because they had all these like horse archers which could just run around pinging them off at distance.
Oh yeah.
And they couldn't really fight. They weren't very effective.
Why
against
didn't they
that.
just come and do the hedgehog thing again?
So eventually they started getting like foreign kings to fight for them.
Okay,
Which,
right.
they did that a lot.
Which is even huge brainer.
Or should we move a bit further
so
towards us?
That's a different time period.
What time? I don't know. Should we do modern?
I think we should.
20 to 6.
Okay, well we can do.
Should we do modern?
Let's do some Napoleon.
Napoleon, okay.
Woo,
Yeah,
Napoleon.
Yeah, because
Getting wild.
Okay, you know what? Let's for anyone who's listening, is Napoleon actually short?
No.
well,
What was his height?
he was 5'9".
So short to us now, basically.
Well, that's modern height, isn't that? What is that?
I think it's
height?
5'10",
5'10".
isn't it?
Usually, oh no, that's in England.
Hang on, I'm good.
Well, in the UK.
Okay, so he's below average height now. Back then he was above average height.
But
it was more
why
it was
did
English
everyone think he was so small?
That's English propaganda, isn't it?
Well,
And
just to
hey,
make fun
it
of
worked.
him.
Yeah, they were like,
Oh,
look,
why
you
is
don't
he
need to be
done it
scared
in
of this man.
meters?
Look at him. He's like,
It's a little
5'9".
baby.
He's like 5'2".
Little
Oh,
baby
Mike, this is
Neo.
one for you. Is 5'7" average height for a man?
Ooh.
Really?
Mike.
No, hang on, that's the question.
Oh dear. Oh no. It's all going downhill.
In the US, it's 5'9".
What is it globally?
Yikes.
So
That's
Napoleon
wild.
was average height then, even by the
Around average.
Even by American standards.
Damn.
Yeah,
I think
so,
for us, we're 5'10".
So-
Whenever anyone thinks of Napoleon, they go, "Oh, short guy, liked to chop off people's heads, didn't he?"
well,
Oh, no, it's 5'9".
that wasn't actually him. But he was after the revolution.
Oh yeah,
That was all Maximilian Robespierre and all that stuff.
Maximilian.
Yeah, so this is a completely different warfare from swords and shields,
God, yeah.
or swords and sandals, as like
Now they have swords on guns.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my
And
god.
sandals on shields.
So the thing that set apart Napoleon from his like contemporaries was not really his army, even though they were like very well disciplined and they had like the young and the old guard who were like probably the best fighting troops in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
They were the best fighting troops in Europe. But it was his tactics. His military brain was like he's the best general of all time, probably.
Of all time.
He was in Bill and Ted.
He's won the most battles, yeah. He's won
Not
the most
the
battles
actual
by
him.
like a fair bit.
He got
Like,
someone to play him,
he's won like
from the-
46 battles, I think.
46.
And then the second place is Julius Caesar with like 20, so it's not even that close.
Damn. But really? I'm
I would
surprised.
have thought it'd be like at least 50.
This is like field
something,
battles.
right?
This isn't like skirmishes. You get little like skirmishes between your scouts and stuff.
Little ruffians.
Yeah, I'm talking about field battles.
Like you're trying to go somewhere to fight like an actual army, and then
There's
someone
one
tries
Donny.
to jump you, and you're
This
like,
one Donny
no.
just tries
So
to jump you. Yeah.
And you get out the cannons, and they're like, ah, shit.
Yeah, so Napoleon,
shit, man.
Napoleon back then, they adopted this like because the guns weren't very accurate. They had muskets and
They were like
stuff that.
stormtroopers, basically.
They're basically stormtroopers, and they're like, okay, so how do we fix this problem?
Fire more.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, so we can't
Nice.
reload that quick, but and the guns are really inaccurate. So how are we going to kill them?
Just keep shooting.
So like,
you're
okay,
gonna hit something.
so how about we just get lots of guns and then put them in a line?
Oh, so did Napoleon come up with the strat where you have the four lines?
Spray and pray.
The 4 lines of soldiers, or however many lines. The first line shoots.
I don't know if that's
Ducks.
him, but that was the tactic of that time.
Okay, cool.
It's called line infantry, basically.
Yeah.
So like you can see why that's probably a good idea because you're like, yeah. So if you get tons of guns in a line,
it's a
the
constant.
spread is still pretty big. But if you have guns all facing the same direction, it'll kind of equal out.
There must have been a couple bullets.
But then
that were colliding.
but then you think about it though, like this is what I find quite funny is you have this big line, but then obviously the other team is just going to do the exact same thing.
So
So it's just
so then you're
they just wait each other
so
out.
It's gonna constant just firing into big lines of men.
Do you think if I stood in the middle, would I get hit?
They're basically-
Probably not.
No, you would.
They were so bad.
No, because they had thousands of men and they would literally line them up in lines.
How does that? So do they just like go into it knowing who's gonna win based on who has more men?
Well,
no, because essentially it's just about luck, isn't it?
Well, a little bit, but at that point it's not really because you have so many muskets firing. It's not really.
Well, if
luck
you have
at
the
that
same
point.
amount of muskets on each side, surely there's going to be.
Well, no, because you can have better made guns. You can have. Well, a lot is to do with weather. Back then, the weather played a big part. If it was raining,
raining,
I'm on a
you're
hill,
just
you're
gone.
not.
So if it was raining, you'd be like, my
If it was
gun's
raining, you're
broken.
like tomorrow, guys. We'll do it tomorrow.
Did they actually do
No.
that? Okay.
They might have done that actually.
That would be really funny.
No, because they pick the time. They if you don't want to fight that day, they'll just like walk back a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so
No,
stupid.
wait, we'll go back to like the ancient times quickly. Like a lot of times they did this thing called dance, like military dancing. It's where they would just muck around with the formations all day. And like sometimes it would last for months.
What?
They would just change the
That is
formation.
ridiculous.
They would all get up.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna fight you. Oh no, I'm not.
they'd
Oh
get-
yes, I
they'd
am.
all-
Oh.
yeah, that's it. They'd all get out of their bed. They'd all line up in formation, and then they'd start moving around in different formations, trying to entice the other back.
Why did no one just
Persians
go,
come on.
right, nah, sod this, I'm just gonna run at you.
Yeah, I'm
see
gonna
what
say.
happens.
Yeah, because if you start running at them, sometimes they'd have positions that they want to give up. So on the high
So
ground,
they go,
for
ah,
instance.
you can have this one.
If they're on the
On the
high
ground.
ground, if they're they're just going to stay there unless they can.
Do they have the high ground, so should they not try it?
They shouldn't try it. No, unless they have unless they're completely outnumbered.
General Anakin. Oh my god.
Like,
What?
yeah, no. So they do this like military
Sure,
dancing, and they would try and coerce the other team into coming and fighting them. And
That's
sometimes it
ridiculous.
happened for weeks on end.
Imagine you're on you're away from your family, fighting a war, and you're spending a month moving around. And
You're literally just like,
at the end of the day, you're like, we'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, they're just gonna
Let's
you're
get
doing
some-
like
let's
the
get some dinner.
Macarena all day.
The Macarena.
Like back and forward.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but so the French started fighting in these big. At that time the Europeans would fight big lines infantry. The Europeans were the best armies in the world by a big amount. The biggest powers were the British and the French,
Who was the
and the
superior
Prussians.
in
Probably.
England? Who was like the big boy or big girl? Who knows?
Well, England was the most powerful in the world at that point in terms of the most colonies and the most money.
Who
I
was
don't know
running?
what
France was just
talking
coming out of a revolution, which isn't very
Yeah,
good normally.
That's quite.
But
unlucky.
Napoleon was like, okay, so
Did they not just like, could they not sell the heads? That'd get them some money.
no, maybe no. But the French
the
Revolution
heads.
happened, so they're like, okay, we don't want a king anymore. So they killed all the kings and killed all the monarchs, killed all the aristocracy, and along came Napoleon and made himself emperor. So it's kind of like no point in the whole thing.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
it's
gone
just-
well.
Are you saying that the entirety of the French Revolution was basically just pointless?
Well, kind
Hey
of.
guys, we got rid of the monarchy. Napoleon's like, right, okay,
Well, no,
don't
'cause
worry,
it brought-
I will lead. You're all going to
it
do
brought,
exactly
like-
what I say, and you're getting no choice.
It brought enlightened ideas, and it kind of made Britain drop the monarchy because they were kind of scared the same thing would happen. So it kind of helped the rest of Europe, but France itself not really. And then
It
Napoleon was
all
like, okay,
started with the bloody Americans.
yeah. So Napoleon was like, okay, we're going to recreate the Romans, basically. And that's why, you know, the Arch de Triomphe in Paris. That's
Yes.
Roman. The
Oh,
whole
that's
thing
cool.
is Roman. It's like this.
So the main.
So yeah.
It's a bit of a random one, isn't it?
What, the Arch de Triomphe?
Yeah, it's just sort of there.
Well, it's after they won. Because they did conquer all of
Hence
Spain.
the name.
They conquered all of Spain. They actually
not
went to
called the
Egypt.
Arch
It's quite funny.
of
They went to
Loss.
Egypt.
What was the army in Egypt like then?
Well, the army. It was. I can't remember exactly who they fought. It might have been British sponsored, but they didn't. I don't think they won. And then they went to. They had like an army, and Napoleon managed to conquer this, basically most of Western Europe, because he just employed his superior tactics to who he's fighting against. Like he would. His probably most famous thing was divide and conquer. That's
Yeah.
where he would.
Divide and then conquer.
Well, yeah. So at Waterloo.
Waterloo.
Yeah,
Value
Waterloo.
song.
Prior to Waterloo, he said, okay,
Iconic.
let's try and divide the Allies up, so we'll try and get the British by themselves and the Prussians by themselves. And they did. They managed to get the Prussians away and defeat the Prussians, and then went to fight the British. And the only reason they lost Waterloo is because of the French. Napoleon's admiral was not admiral. Second in charge was a bit stupid and chucked all the cavalry into them.
Oh, that's unlucky.
Yeah.
What did he chuck him
But
into?
anyway, so he was like superior tactics, and like the weaponry was kind of similar back then. So it wasn't really to do with changing.
There wasn't any class.
Wait, so
classes
Napoleon,
in
was he
Norway.
like a total stud?
What do you mean?
Napoleon?
What does that mean?
What do you mean?
I'm not good jargon.
Jargon?
What does
Like,
stud mean?
Jorgen?
What is
What?
stud?
What?
What is
I
stud
will
mean?
get a dictionary definition up for you.
Anyway, yeah. So the tactics. Sorry, the militaries themselves weren't that different, but the tactics were like.
Were they only like?
Well,
Didn't they not have like cavalry then back then?
They
as
did.
well?
Yeah, they did. Yes.
So, was that? Do you think there was many as many classes? Like obviously with the Romans, they had many different.
Oh,
like,
what?
They obviously had the.
Well, no. So they had there was like subsections, but most of them you had
Most
people
of
with
them were
guns or
musketeers.
people with horses, and that's it. And cannons. They got cannons as well.
Oh yeah, falconets. Did they have them?
More howitzers and stuff.
No, okay, fair enough.
And
I just know it's Age of Empires.
yeah, so that's like there wasn't much.
It's more to do with tactics,
Yeah,
basically,
back then.
rather than numbers.
What does it mean?
A stud person is a young man, guy especially, one who is virile. Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay,
Yeah.
And from
Right.
this,
okay. I see.
So was
a
it?
tough person.
He was tall.
A hunk-
He was smart.
he
He was
wasn't
very
tall.
powerful.
He wasn't very tall.
He was for then.
He was. Yeah. Okay. He was smart. He was definitely powerful.
So
Yeah. Why not?
so did he know that the entire world was making fun of him being small, and he's not even small?
Well, it's just they're probably doing the same thing in France, making fun of Duke of Wellington. They're like, this guy sucks.
Wellington, food, stinky tactics.
You should be a.
I should write for propaganda.
Yeah, no, so
Please don't.
Napoleon's greatest
Don't
triumph
do
was
that.
at Austerlitz, where he managed to do the same kind of divide and conquer thing, and he managed to defeat the Prussians and completely eradicate
Basically,
them.
Prussians are just losing everything.
Yeah, they're basically Germans.
Bots.
Back then. Yeah, so that's. You want to do some more present day stuff now?
You
Yes.
can move to present
Because you
day.
guys actually know what you're talking, or like World War.
I know. Do you want to do World Wars?
Yeah, you do some of that. I've been talking for so long. My voice is.
I don't know much about World Wars.
Dude,
I
you're the
dropped
one with
history
like
second
3
year.
books there.
Jeez, okay.
That's the reason you've been talking.
Okay, so what do you know about World War?
Did they
That's the
happen?
two. That's the two. One's just trenches.
One, yeah. Trenches.
It's just trenches.
Trenches were pretty cool. though.
Trenches are pretty.
What do you know?
You know
about
what I
them?
think's mad about trenches? It's someone like just had to.
That was the thing.
Every time they had a trench, someone would just run ahead and dig a new one.
Oh, that's mad.
Well, it wasn't like.
Like
It
they
was
would
very
get out of the
incremental.
trench and just like start
Get a
digging.
spade and start
No, they
digging.
would defeat the other trench first, and then they would.
They would move
Yeah,
to
but
their
the
trenches.
trenches had to be there in the first place.
No, they would fight and they went back and forth a bit, and like, this is not moving anywhere, so they just went down. So they went into Germany, into France.
So like they're all
In the
like
back.
"Bah, and then they're like shit boys, we need to stop for the night.
No,
and
no.
then they just start digging.
No, that's not that. So the Germans went into France.
Yeah.
For the Schlieffenplan.
Mm-hmm.
Schlieffenplan. And then they went quite far in. And then the British were like, oh no, this is not acceptable. So they helped the French kick them back the way. So then they got back towards Germany, and then went back again, and then back, and then they got to like an equilibrium where nothing was moving. It's like, oh, this is not very good. So they just went down instead of sideways.
Why?
They just dug down into trenches.
You know what I found about because obviously
Tiny
with World War
bombs.
II there was like at one point at the start there was kind of Russia and Germany versus most, right?
Russia's against Germany.
Well, no, at the very end, right? I'm surely at the start. I'm pretty sure at the start that when they like little.
No.
Well, they're not.
Never aligned.
Because I know when
That's World
Germany.
War Two. You're World War Two.
Yeah, we're talking about World War II. You said at the start.
Oh.
let's talk about World War II.
Yeah, but then I started talking about trenches.
No. So Stalin and Hitler made a pact to split Poland in half.
Yeah, exactly. But
Poland gets so mistreated so badly in history. They're always like it's like the corridor to Europe. So
Josh, I
Russia
broke the laptop.
I was gonna say that push shows.
Wait, don't turn it off. That's
No, it's just okay. No, it's on. It's fine.
it's got
Mike, are we good?
Yeah, I know.
Is it
Yeah.
recording still?
I don't know. That's
Check it out.
Oh my god,
it was black.
hacker man!
Nah, it's fine. I have no idea.
Is it still going?
Oh thank god!
Yeah, it's fine.
Is that actually still going?
We can cut that out maybe. We'll see.
Just the way he goes through it, he's
Hacker
sitting there
man.
like, oh my god, why is this taking so long?
I thought we
Why
lost
don't they
it.
just shut up? And then he's immediately like, no!
Okay, anyway, right. So yeah, Russia and Germany were like, we'll split in half. You know, half these.
Yeah, this is where war became way more like political. This
And then Germany were like,
So-
frick you. And then they took. What did they take most of Poland, or did they take all of Poland?
no, they did what they agreed.
Yeah, and
And,
then they attacked. Then they invaded Russia.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that was
so
ridiculous.
Yeah, but
so right, okay, that's both invaded at the same time. They did.
Yeah.
Britain was like, you can't be invading Poland, they're neutral, so they declared war on them.
Mhm.
And then the Germans didn't really agree.
Hey, you
Yeah.
can't invade them, you're not at war with them, they're neutral. And
I'm
they're
at war
like,
with you. Frick you, and then take.
you know what? Fine. I'll call you bluff.
Hitler really had two goals. He wanted Moscow or in London. He didn't get either.
So, but
And
when he
then the
invaded
world.
Russia, he'd have made the massive mistake of forgetting that Russia's cold as frick.
Yeah.
That's what Napoleon did.
That was a major L.
Yeah, And I remember learning about this.
What is it with people and forgetting that Russia's freaking cold?
Because
everyone just thinks of Russia as
I'm reading a book about Russia.
Nobody thinks that.
I do.
I'm reading a book about Russia.
Vodka, chess, bam.
Funky buildings.
Funky buildings. Moscow looks... I really want to go to Moscow.
I want to see the Kremlin.
Yeah, funky buildings.
Yeah, but I'm reading about... If you think about Russia, it's just really big. And
but I don't want to get,
they're like
uranium poisoning.
No, think how big the border is. How
massive.
They have to defend the whole bloody thing.
Is it called the Russian Federation?
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't really have to defend...
Communists, then.
You don't really have to defend the whole thing, because, 80% of it, nobody gives a shit about.
Well...
It's like Moscow.
It's not really that kind of thinking, but that's kind of what happened. They're like, okay, let's just let them come, and then the cold will kill them.
Is it the largest country?
If we're lucky, we won't even notice they're there.
Is that actually?
Yeah.
That's mad. That's crazy.
It takes ages to get to the other side of that. Yeah,
but yes, Germany, Hitler was like, oh yeah, let's invade Russia because frick them, and then they realised how cold it was, and it ruined their because it was so cold over there. They were flipping freezing our asses off.
Yeah, the fuel in the tank started to freeze.
Yeah, exactly. I remember that.
And the lack of supply lines. Because you think about Russia, how far do you have to get to? It's several thousand. It's thousands of kilometers to get to Moscow.
There was a city.
You have to keep that supply line untampered with the whole way, and that's very difficult.
Yeah, there was a city close to the border next to Germany, wasn't there? That they tried to invade. Or they didn't. I forgot what it's called.
Stalingrad.
I think maybe, I don't know. Either way, I'm surprised that Hitler, who was meant to be quite a good tactician, was he not?
No.
Because he did the Blitzkrieg stuff.
Wasn't really
him. But either
he
way,
he knew people that
knew stuff.
He knew people,
but they didn't know enough stuff to kill.
To remember that it was cold.
To remember it was cold, and that's why
he had master tacticians, but he didn't have any weathermen.
I blame.
That was his issue.
I blame the loss. The German loss on their fascination with killing Jews instead of using the trains.
Yeah, that was pretty. That was a lot of resources for no reason.
That just kind of proves that he didn't really. He just wanted to kill people.
He wanted to kill certain people.
But it also helped unite everyone.
No, but they could have said they were killing them. They didn't need to kill them.
That's true.
They didn't need to
but it wasn't half the thing. They said that they
weren't
killing them.
Who's counting how many Jews there were in America?
Didn't he say that they weren't killing them?
I'm pretty sure they made it pretty obvious they were.
Oh, okay.
With the 20 camps.
Did all the
and the trains?
Yeah, but they weren't in the middle of Berlin. It wasn't hey everyone, come look at this.
Yeah, but they would pick they would literally put the Jews in the ghettos and then ship them off on trains.
Yeah,
that's such a that just proves that he was a psychopath.
That is mucked up. The fact
that's the bit that proves he was a psychopath.
Many things.
Yeah, but he could have instead of making Germany the Third Reich, he just wanted to kill Jews. He was just mocked in the brain. But
Hitler mocked in the brain.
Yeah,
no.
But
the shit we come up
with.
The
Germans were not prepared for the cold.
No, but I'm surprised because they took over them quite a lot of France.
Yeah, they got within a day of Moscow.
Exactly, but then they just mucked it up so quickly.
But the thing is, they didn't know that because it was so snowy.
It was the supply lines. But it was also the Russians that had the best tactic ever. It wasn't actually that good. But the tactic was they would tie TNT to dogs, and then they would make the dogs run under the tanks.
How do you think you're the good guys when you're blowing up dogs?
It's Russia.
This is Russia.
Exactly.
They don't think they're good guys, and they don't think they're bad guys. They're just Russian.
I think they think they're good guys.
No.
They were saying, what they found out that the dogs would just run under their own tank.
Well, no, because if you think about it, I'm not sure. Russian people that we're good guys. Okay, strap the dog on, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they thought that, but they didn't think we're pretty.
It's kind of mental how quickly that war kind of changed from Napoleon, which was the early 19th century, to full-on semi-automatic machine guns and tanks in 100 and something years.
Yeah, that is pretty. After the industrial.
That is one good thing about war. There's a lot of innovation.
Yes, yeah. That's
why I'm going to go into it. I'll make it even better.
Bad George.
You're just going to do what John Boyega tells us not to do.
Well,
in Star Wars 8.
Everyone has their own opinion.
At the Casino Planet. Well, it's a complete waste of time.
Everyone's favourite scene in Star Wars.
Yeah, that's right. Favourite character, favourite
How
scene.
do we go from, the Holocaust
To John Boyega.
I love John Boyega. I wish they used him better.
And we're back to John Boyega.
I wish
He's
they...
just not. I didn't think he added that much. I'm gonna be
That's
Yeah,
because
because the
in the
characters
last one
suck,
they were
man.
like
exactly.
stinky.
Like, if they just took him out, I mean, there would be a lot of
In the
problems.
first and
make
second one, he was
Make
quite
Finn good. Don't make Finn rubbish.
They should have added that, and also one thing I'm really annoyed about. They should have just made Phasma so much better. I mean, she was amazing, but she was better
You're
than anything.
sexist, George.
How?
Dude,
She's
you
a
took
female.
down your
I
poster
didn't
of her
take- no,
when
that
you
was-
found
that
out
was
she was a
after-
woman.
How am I?
That is not true.
That
I
is
want-
true.
That's because I turned my wall to like the Titanic bit.
Yeah, full of men.
Mate, go and look.
I'm not going to go to your
I'm not
room.
going
It's-
into your room. I'm scared of what I'll find.
Okay.
Also, restrictions, and we're 1 meter
Yeah,
to 2 meters
2 meters.
apart.
2 meters. George.
15 meters apart.
I'm
Recording the
actually at
podcast.
home. This is just a Zoom call.
Anyway, boys,
Is Okay.
John, Harry, you know what? You can do some of the modern war because, like,
Can I?
yeah, just tell us some stuff.
Yeah, you've been through the mud.
You being an am?
Basically, when they shipped me off,
You went to
Which
Nam?
was when?
firstly to Vietnam.
Oh, the only Brit to go.
Well, I put on an American. I was at the pub.
I
And
see
I was
your
taking.
accent, I
I was
see your
taking the
accent.
piss out of the Americans.
I see
They
your
got
accent.
confused and sent me to
Yeah,
Saigon.
you're taking
So-
the piss at the Americans in London, and then the CIA heard you on your phone.
Yeah, and they were like, "Wait a minute,
Sir, please come with
Is
us.
it?
he's a deserter. He skipped across the
Let's hear
pond."
your accent.
Imagine seeing that one
No.
British guy and it's Harry.
Oh,
from
okay.
Vietnam.
You want to do
And then I got to Nam, and I was like, "Ah, shit."
this?
And then they started doing some like properly messed up stuff,
That
and
was
I
the
was
thing,
like,
didn't
"Well,
they, like,
I
burn a
cannot
bunch
be
of,
having
like-
this."
They burned up loads of stuff, the Americans.
Everything they did then was probably a war crime. right?
Yeah.
It
Like
was
the whole,
horrific.
Like, you know, the whole. Well, that was sort of the
napalm.
issue,
I don't think you can use napalm anymore.
especially
No,
on
it's
children.
Oh,
That was a bit.
That was
mm.
no. They just put napalm everywhere. They were like, civilians, pff, not anymore.
Americans, you know,
And they
Americans-
decided
Not
napalm.
a huge brain maneuver on Americans' part.
At least,
I mean-
at least they didn't have concentration camps.
Yes, but they did.
Yes,
use
but they did
napalm
just
on
kill
children.
everyone because they didn't know who was the bad guys. So if we just kill everyone, we're gotta have a few hits, right?
Yeah, the trees were
Few
the bad
misses.
guys. The trees guys were the bad. The trees
Which
were
is
bad.
why they burned down everything.
Yeah.
Horrific.
And then, yeah,
Speaking of
Vietcong
which,
had some
the
funky
guerrilla warfare
tunnels.
during that time, though.
Oh yeah, Viet Cong.
There was like
I
they built.
would
They
hate to
built.
fight there.
They were built mini tunnels that literally the Americans barely even fit in.
And then had poison tipped spears in
I
the
know,
ground.
like that's like
Like the tactics.
Nice.
against
talk about
America
home
was insane.
advantage in
Yeah,
war.
this is like
Mad.
this is like Battle of
mad.
Bannockburn and stuff.
Yeah,
Crazy.
but like what? The most powerful army in the world versus
Ever.
some
The
jungle
powerful
boys.
army ever.
versus like regular people who really don't want you to be in their home,
just farmers.
and they just beat
They
the out of them.
It was like, nah, bro, we're not having you here. Go away.
It's like, we'd actually prefer if
Which-
you
which-
didn't invade us. Thank
yeah,
you.
the French came and did the exact same thing you did, so we're just going to beat you up this time.
So how
Crazy, but,
about
like they built loads of
Everyone,
mini tunnels.
no
It's
one
crazy.
wins no one wins in Afghanistan, and no one wins in Vietnam.
Just
Why
no
do
one
people still go?
wins.
French?
Well, I think somebody won in Vietnam.
No.
It just wasn't the Americans.
Well, the foreigners don't win in Vietnam.
Yeah.
The French lost there, Chinese lost there, the Americans lost there.
The tactics they used there though against the Americans, insane, crazy.
In guerrilla.
Whoever
Well, that's
curated
a-
that, well done. Pat on the back. Congrats.
How did we do that? We'll probably do that
like,
for a year.
like, imagine you go there. You're like Billy Big Boys. You're like, yeah, I'm
With
part of
your-
like the
your Black
you're,
Hawk.
America.
Your
Frick
Black Hawk
you.
Yeah.
helicopter, you're like
playing
and
that
then-
song that's in all of the movies. Yeah, that one.
Got Forrest Gump in the back seat,
Yeah,
and then you just walk 2 meters, and then you're
and then just
2
like
feet under the ground in some spikes.
some bastards just like jumped out of a
You just call-
hole in the ground and has just killed your entire unit.
They're like what are those things?
There's
that
like
come out of the ground?
3 of them, and you're just all dead.
Yeah, like got blow darts and stuff.
Yeah, that's
I'm not sure what's
insane.
worse: the poisonous spikes and
Who would you
Fuck
rather
that
fight, the
place.
Viet Cong or barbarian French?
barbarian.
Well, to be honest, I think I could probably take them both on at once. Built different.
What Harry? Harry?
Harry, what were you,
Okay,
were you going to say Muck something?
Harry Barry Boo.
Harry Back.
Who do you think would win then? Okay, who
What,
do you
the
think,
barbarians versus,
who do you think would win? Greek phalanx
Mhm.
or
Turtle boys. Porcupine Warrior.
Panzer tank.
Porcupine Warrior.
Nah, I'm just joking.
Panzer tank.
Yeah, it's not really
You said
Well, does the Panzer have fuel? And is this in like an open field?
That
It's
is
in the
the
middle.
most
If it's in the middle of the Ural Mountains in Siberia.
Ooh.
I have no idea what that terrain is like, Jack.
It's a
That.
mountainous area.
Can
But again,
a tank
I was
go on
thinking
I'm not
about it, I was
sure.
like, oh, maybe. But again, they've got spears against a tank.
Right, let's wrap this up. We've been rambling on for years.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
been an
right.
hour and 6 minutes.
Do you think this was quite a historically
Well, I kind of
accurate
liked it. It was
podcast?
just it wasn't really. We were just talking about history, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, you were talking about history.
Yeah, Harry was
Yeah.
playing
I-
Run 2.
Look, man,
like a bit.
Look, man, you choose the topic and I'll listen. Like what the next one is.
Whatever the next one is. What?
Oh yeah, if you come back next, if anyone knows here,
No.
I'll be here.
Not after that. Not after that.
After the first 5 minutes, no one's
they've gone.
here.
No, the
Yeah.
first 5 minutes I feel were somewhat entertaining.
Yeah, but then the 6th minute, gone.
But there's
Yeah.
only one way you can end this episode.
Ah!
I'm gonna shoot you.
Tell me something your mom doesn't know. Come on, England!